You see, there's no artist, let me be clear, there's no artist in this industry that's doing major numbers with these platforms that haven't sold their soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's a lot of things. She's spectacular, actually.
Yes.
And congratulations on new mamahood.
Yes.
Rihanna, Beyoncé, JayZ. 3 names that don't just hold weight, they dominate the industry. They walk into a room and every conversation stops. But behind that sparkling curtain of fame, applause, and flawless PR campaigns, there's a darker reality that most people aren't ready to face. And right now, the spotlight is shifting. All eyes on Rihanna. Once the crown jewel under Jay-Z's wing, now a billionaire mogul on her own terms. And maybe, just maybe, the one holding the key to secrets that could unravel everything the Carters have built. Whispers of betrayal, chilling alliances, and a fallout so deep it could shake the entire foundation of their empire. What really went down between her and Beyoncé? Why has she always felt out of place in their world? And is she finally done staying silent?
Beyoncé and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
For years, Rihanna kept it cute, kept it quiet, never spilled a drop, but people are now asking, was that just business savvy? Or was it something far more strategic? That one viral clip? Her smirk when someone brought up Diddy's infamous parties? That wasn't just a random moment, that was a look, a warning, a whole story in her eyes. And let's be real, Rihanna isn't messy without a reason. So what did she see? What did she hear behind those velvet ropes of the Carter-Diddy circle? Because now, it seems like she's done keeping their secrets. People have speculated for ages about the strange air between Beyoncé and Rihanna. Sure, on the red carpet they smiled, but behind the scenes, it was ice cold. Ego battles, silent wars, shade hidden behind designer sunglasses. But what if this isn't just diva drama? What if Rihanna saw something she couldn't unsee? And that's what made her run.
Genius.
Beyoncé.
Gorgeous. A stab to my self-esteem.
Think about it. 2 of the biggest icons in the game never worked together. Not one song, not one tour, not even a commercial. It's bizarre, especially in an industry where a collab can turn into a billion-dollar brand overnight. But Rihanna always kept her distance, never folded into the Carter web, never let herself be their pawn. People said it was ego, but now it looks more like self-preservation. And when she left Roc Nation, that wasn't a business decision. That was an escape. The infamous smirk. She was asked about Diddy's gatherings, and not just the bougie ones with the celebs and caviar, the ones whispered about, the ones people said weren't just parties, they were setups, dangerous, unholy, and when Rihanna smirked, she wasn't amused. She was screaming without saying a word.
We love y'all, we want y'all to get it right, at least get it close to right. And obviously it's subjective. Y'all don't gotta clap at everything.
When Rihanna left Roc Nation, people didn't understand it. Jay-Z was the one who discovered her, the one who believed in her before the world did. She owed him her career, or so the narrative went. But Rihanna didn't owe anyone. And her exit, that was the beginning of her rebellion. Some say it was tension with Beyoncé, that her rising star was too bright and the queen bee didn't like sharing the crown. Others say it got more personal. Was Rihanna's success a threat, or was there something deeper? A secret? A betrayal? We may never know the full truth, but one thing's certain, the vibe was never right between them.
I hear that you're a big fan of Beyoncé.
It wasn't just industry gossip, fans saw it too. From awkward photo ops to that Grammy moment that still pisses off the Navy, when Rihanna's groundbreaking auntie got snubbed and Lemonade swept in. Rihanna liked the post that accused the Grammys of playing favorites. She brushed it off later, but everyone saw it. The shade was loud and it hit hard. But then came the Jaguar Wright bombshell. Jaguar, the insider who's been blowing the lid off the industry's dirty secrets, named names, and not just any names, the names she accused the Carters of being knee-deep in Diddy's twisted empire. She said it out loud: manipulation, exploitation, secrecy. And just like that, Rihanna's silence started to make sense. Why speak when you know the vultures are watching? Why risk everything when you're trying to escape?
Your husband, Jay-Z, had a lot to do with Rihanna's early career. Back in February, he said he thought everyone should support her in that mess with Chris Brown.
If Jaguar's words are true, we're not talking about a little industry beef here. We're talking about full-blown corruption, an empire built not just on talent and strategy, but on lies, threats, and cover-ups. And Rihanna, she stayed away for a reason. She knew, or at least she suspected. And now that the world is finally paying attention, people are starting to realize she might have been protecting herself all along. Parties Diddy hosted, they're being exposed in lawsuits now. Whispers have turned into testimonies, coercion, control. And Rihanna, she's watching it all unfold from a safe distance because she ran when she saw it coming.
And I also want to thank all of the talented R&B women that came before me, like Lauryn Hill.
She was hot as fish grease.
Look at her lately, confident, independent, untouchable. But listen closely, she's been dropping hints, the smirk, the cryptic messages, the talk about loyalty and freedom. People are finally waking up to what she's been saying without saying. And now we're being reminded of names like Kathy White, a publicist with close ties to JayZ. She passed away suddenly in 2011. Official story? Health issue. But the whispers have never stopped because just before her death, she was reportedly about to come forward with explosive secrets about the industry, about JayZ, about the entire power web. What if Rihanna knew her? What if that was the turning point?
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
Jaguar writes stories, Kathy White's suspicious death, and Rihanna's mysterious pullback. This isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern, and it's all starting to crack open. Now fans are asking, what does Rihanna really know? What did she witness? And most chilling of all, is she next to speak? Because if she does, the Carter empire might not survive the hit. But the silence from Beyoncé and JayZ is deafening. These two never let a rumor breathe longer than a few hours. Yet now, as Diddy's scandals explode and names start getting dragged into court documents, they say nothing, just eerie calm. And that calm feels less like innocence and more like calculation.
You know, when you're early in your career, you feel that you have to listen. And when you buck, they buck harder.
Behind the curtain of that eerie calm, one name keeps popping up, Alex Spiro, the Carter's pit bull lawyer. He's not just sending out cease and desists, he's erasing history. Jaguar writes interviews vanished, legal threats swirling, lawsuits whispered in DMs. You so much as breathe the Carter's name in the same sentence as Diddy, and suddenly your content's gone, your account is flagged, and you're getting mysterious emails from lawyers. Tell me that doesn't scream cover up. Why work this hard to bury something unless there's something dangerous buried? Jay and Bey didn't become untouchable by being messy. They know how to play the game. But now, their game's slipping. And Rihanna? She's not playing anymore. She's free, and freedom like that, it terrifies people who've built their kingdom on silence.
How you guys ended Carrie Hilson's career because she said something about it.
Rihanna used to be one of them, the rising star, JayZ's protege, Beyoncé's savage, billionaire status, while the Carters, they stayed quiet, still polished, still perfect, but that perfection is starting to look plastic. Remember that Grammy moment? Rihanna thanks JayZ on stage, the crowd roars, but Beyoncé, stone, cold, face, not pride, not joy, just a flicker of something venomous. Fans saw it, they felt it. That moment confirmed what many had whispered for years. It's not all love in the Carter kingdom. And then came Bow Down, a power anthem, maybe, but read between the lines and it was a threat wrapped in a beat. That track wasn't empowerment, it was domination. Beyoncé flexing her place at the top, letting every woman, every rival, every threat know. Rihanna didn't bow, she left, and now we know why.
Obviously it's subjective because, you know, it's music and it's opinion-based. But, you know, some things.
The lawsuits against Diddy are turning into an avalanche, and it's only just started. Attorney Tony Busby says the names we've seen, just the beginning. And honey, the walls are closing in. Diddy's fall isn't just about him. It's about the entire structure that kept him untouchable. The machine, the alliances, the names, the power, and guess who were seen right next to him during his highest, darkest days? Yep, the Carters. Beyoncé, JayZ, suddenly their silence ain't just suspicious, it's terrifying. And those infamous Diddy parties, once seen as the playground of the elite, now they're being described as something sinister in legal filings. Predatory, coercive, cruel. No wonder she walked away. She didn't just leave a label, she escaped a war zone.
Short win. It's really much more of a loss for the legal team of JayZ and Diddy.
Why would you say that? Because the judge was kind of harsh to JayZ and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, you know, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. You know, go be good for a little while, then come back and ask me again.
Let's talk numbers. Let's talk name. Everyone who mattered in Hollywood was at Diddy's events. Rappers, actors, executives, legends. And yet, so few are speaking up. They say they knew nothing. But that's not how these circles work. Everybody knows something. The guest lists were a who's who. The Carters weren't just guests, they were mainstays. Photos, videos, appearances, smiles. But now that the lawsuits are here, they've vanished into thin air. What does that say? It says fear, because these lawsuits, they aren't just about one man, they're about an industry, about a culture built on silence, on exploitation, on control. The victims are speaking now, and they're saying what many already suspected: Diddy's power came at a cost, and those who helped him hold it, they may be next.
And that's not the first time we've seen this tactic, and the last time it actually worked.
Let's not pretend anymore. Diddy's gatherings, they were designed, carefully curated, and now, horrifyingly, they're being described as hunting grounds. Were the Carters involved? No one knows for sure. But here's the thing, they're not denying it. Not one public word, just silence. Retreat, vanishing acts, and in PR terms, silence screams guilt. Cancellations, postponed appearances, cryptic Instagram captions. The image is cracking. Meanwhile, Rihanna? She's glowing, running billion-dollar brands, posting unbothered selfies, loving her man, raising her babies, untouchable. And the contrast is blinding. While the Carters scramble to stay pristine, Rihanna's living proof that you can walk away and still win.
It's obviously getting a whole new wave of attention and more focused attention on this victim. So I think it's going to be tied to the media cycle, if I had to guess, and how these rulings continue. And they have this celebrity name that is sort of waiting to take over the headlines when they choose to release it. So I think it will be added, but it's going to be a strategic time.
Here's the gut punch. Rihanna didn't distance herself to be petty. She didn't walk away for creative freedom. She walked away to survive. She saw what was coming. She read the room when everyone else was sipping champagne. And now, the fire's burning, and she's the only one standing outside the smoke. But what does she know? What did she see? And when will she finally speak? Because if she does, oh baby, it won't just be Diddy who falls. It'll be everyone who stood on the same stage, took the same money, kept the same secrets. The Carters have built a legacy, a brand, a dynasty. But if Rihanna opens her mouth and tells her story, that dynasty might crumble. Because when someone as powerful as Beyoncé and JayZ aren't immune anymore, then no one is. This isn't just about music, it's about truth, about secrets that have been shoved under red carpets for decades, finally breaking through the floorboards. And maybe Rihanna, she's not just the survivor, maybe she's the spark that burns the whole illusion to the ground. Final thoughts. This isn't just another celebrity feud, this is a reckoning. As Diddy's empire falls and the whispers around the Carters grow into full-blown roars, we're watching something historic unfold. And Rihanna, she's not just surviving it, she's winning it. But now we're waiting. Will she speak? Will she tell us what she saw behind the designer curtains, the VIP passes, the velvet ropes? And when she does, what will be left standing? Stay locked in, because if this is the beginning of the end for the Carter dynasty, then Rihanna's story might just be the match that lit the fuse. Until next time, keep your eyes wide and your ears wider, because in Hollywood, silence isn't golden, it's deadly.